Hey everybody, this is Elizabeth from Silvernest Homeschooling Mama for it. If you've been following this journey, I have been taking you through the shelf where I store books and my kids have access to. It's like our library. It's not all the books we own in the house, but it is a lot of the books that sit in a holding pattern. And the shelf I'm going to take you to today happens to be books that we absolutely love that my kids have outgrown. So I would put this in my future library concept. Now, every now and then, one of my kids who has nostalgia for these stories will go drag them out and have her dad read them to her again because they were so well loved. And I will say these are the ones that made the cut. We have done a lot of declaring over the years of which books to keep for this age group. And there are 2 more shelves of this kind of genre, maybe 3. But this is the one we're going to go through today. So if you're looking for good books for your early elementary school, preschool crowd, this is probably where you're going to find some great classic things. All right, let's start on this side. We've got Mama and Me and the Model T. I love Ted Rand's work. He happened to be a friend of my in-laws. And so when he retired, he ended up becoming a watercolorist for children's books. And this one is hilarious because it's all about how they, well, I love just the Model T in general, but they get this new car and they don't think that the women can drive it. So the mom jumps in and drives it. So yeah, very hilarious, very fun. Good for that time period. Okay, again, I'm apologize. This is be a lot of like up and down because I didn't put a table here for me to drop these books on. Maybe I'll be able to pull them out, show them to you without giving you dizzy. I'm not a professional and I don't edit. This is just me trying to share what I've got so that I hopefully will be helpful for you. Paul Revere's Ride. This one, also illustrated by Ted Rand, the Henry Wadsworth Longfellow story. We've used it for the 5 in a row curriculum. It's a great book for early American history, and I love the watercolor illustrations on this. Oh, Mercer Mayer. Come on, everybody. If you don't know Mercer Mayer, he is so hilarious. I love the little critter books, but I love all Mercer Mayer. And there's this mix of like this... the kid who's trying to be, somewhat rebellious and learning his lesson and always a little bit of humor. And he has this mouse friend with him. And my kids absolutely love this book. It was in perfectly new condition when we got it and I guarded it and it's still a mess. Yeah, so I'm always collecting Mercer Mayer books for the future, as well as we laugh really hard with them. I think a really good children's book is one that you enjoy reading as a parent, as well as the kids. That's what makes a great children's book. And Rattlebang Picnic is right there. Stephen Kellogg illustrations. Love Stephen Kellogg. But it's all about a family who decides to have just a few children, 6 or 7, and buy an old Rattlebang, then to have a lot of kids and have like no car. And so they go on this great adventure. Everything is really crazy. They have to deal with the volcano and their car tire blows off and they have to fix it with Granny's pizza. So yeah, love this one. All right, digging in, we've got Best of All by Max Lucado, and this talks about value and who you are with the Wemmicks. Our friend here is made of willow, which is weaker wood, everyone says, but in the end, his weaker wood is what allows him to help save the day. So idea is that we are valuable because God made us and he doesn't make mistakes. All the Wemmick stories are amazing. I just can't wait to have them all. Just Plain Fancy. I love Patricia Polacco. Her work is great for history as well as the artwork. Her stories tend to be have a little more serious themes, though some of them are pretty funny. And this one, of course, is about the Amish. And they have a very fancy egg that was laid. What are they going to do with that? It's always good to have an Aesop's Fable around. We're always throwing those into different history units. And I just thought the artwork on this was beautiful. It reminds me of the 20s, and it is a classic illustrated edition, and I think I got it for free, so always extra bonus. Elephants Aloft, one of my kids' favorite books from their little. It was a gift from my in-laws, and there's a peanut in every single picture, so there's always something to look for, like a hunt and find, but it's about these elephants that decide to go visit their relatives. And it's very simple, and it's just like up, down, 1 word per page. Irish Cinderlord. So I don't remember this book, so it must have come with my husband's collection. But the idea of these different kinds of Cinderellas, and in this case, the Irish one. And I know my Cinder Lad, sorry. My kids have read this. I just myself don't remember it. Papa and Me. This one my kids did read a lot. It's got a mix of Spanish and English and is all about a kid and his dad and the adventures they have. Very great for preschool. Gotta remember, I read some of these books like, 15 years ago. So this one was mine when I was a kid, The Flight of Orville Wright. It's all about a caterpillar who has a big dream to fly. And it's it's a salvation story and a transformation story. At the end, he does get to finally fly and he becomes saved and gets to share Jesus with people. But I don't know if it's available anymore. Jan Brett, one of my absolute favorite authors. Authors and illustrator. If I could grow up and be Jan Brett, I would. And her stuff always has these great stories. In this case, she's retelling The Town Mouse and the Country Mouse. She does some of her own ideas as well, but she always adds these extra illustrations on the side of what's going to happen or what's happening at the same time. So there's so much visually to look at when their kids are reading. My favorite book is probably The Hat, which was probably I have a box of board books I keep for my nieces and nephews to read with them. Oop, I can't put that in. All right. We'll leave you down there. Here we go. Hope you're not dizzy, guys. All right. What else we got? Oh, yeah. More Jan Brett. The Umbrella. This was great for studying South America and all the animals from South America. Water's Way. More Ted Rand. This is how the water system works, and living in the Pacific Northwest where Ted Rand is from and where we are from, this has been super helpful for the kids when they were younger. Science. Love a good science picture book. City Chicken. This one changed my brain. It was also a gift, and basically it's about a happy city chicken who has a backyard and has all kinds of things and keeps hearing about the country and how great the country is, and finally goes to the country and finds a big egg factory where all the chickens in the country are stuck inside these little tiny places to have eggs all day long and just miserable, and ends up escaping back to the city. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting tongue-in-cheek, but also helps kids understand like the idea that, when they describe something, Henrietta looks at it and in her head, it looks completely different than what the person is trying to tell her. So, yeah, it's just great for imagination. Another book from when I was a kid, Tiki Tiki Timbo, story about a boy who has a really long name and the challenges that causes. And I actually memorized this and told this in my storytelling class in college. So I wanted a copy of that. Lentil, another one of my favorites. I love Robert McCloskey, Make Way for Ducklings, all those things. That Lentil just loves to play the harmonica. He can't whistle. Everybody else can whistle, but he can't. But he practices and practices and practices. And then he ends up helping with this giant parade at the end. So, yeah, should be available at your local library. A great 5 in a row kind of book where you could read the same book Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and talk about music one day, talk about how your mouth works, or there's a whole part in with lemons. You can make lemonade. Yeah, Velveteen Rabbit, classic kids book, all about a rabbit that comes to life after being loved and giving up its life for its child. It's a lot longer of a book than I ever remember because it always comes in these little cute books. When you open it, it's tons of words. And so sometimes the kids don't actually pay attention to it if you read it to them too young. And then when they get older, it's not as applicable. But again, it was a gift to us, and maybe it's the artwork they didn't love as much. But yeah. The Little Brute Family. I love this story. It's all about the brutes from, again, my childhood. They start out mean and become nice, and the art is really fun. Anno's USA. So Anno, again, time period. Journey east and west, past and present. So let me bring you down here for this one. It's more visual. So this is more of a book to look at than a book to read. And I think I got it for free somewhere after my kids had kind of passed this time period. But it's nice to have books that you just can sit and look at over and over again. Peasant Pig, another one of my kids' absolute favorite books. We love Richard Scarry, and so Peasant Pig actually has to defeat the terrible dragon. which is made up of fake people. It's not really a dragon. And so, yeah, hilarious. Hilarious, fun. Great for a book about the Middle Ages, because then you can compare and contrast what was real and what wasn't. Charlotte's Web. Easily the top 20 books I recommend reading to your kids or having your kids read. If you haven't seen the book or the movie, it's all about a pig who is saved by Fern because he's the runt and he shouldn't make it. And then this incredible spider, Charlotte, who actually figures out a way to save his life and be a true friend. Second copy of the Rattlebang Picnic, because my kids love it so much they're going to want to take it with them. The Song of the King. This is another Max Lucado, and it's all about learning to listen to the voice of God and just focus on him even when things are hard, and he'll get you through. Otter Helps Out, another classic from when I was a kid. I don't think they exist to buy them anymore, but it's 3 rabbits that are friends, and it has God questions at the end to walk through. So it's a learning book, but it was well written, so I didn't care that it was a learning book when I was a kid. How Do Alligators Praise the Lord by Kirk Franklin. It's a book my mom bought my kids, and it's just really silly fun. The Tale of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, again, really great for when I study Arabian Nights. Was a gift. The Great Quillo, also a gift. Stephen Kellogg, illustrations again, and just a fun fantasy story. Some really great poetry that came with this CD, so the kids could listen to it as well. It has some of my absolute favorite people in there, including J.R.R. Tolkien, Langston Hughes, Robert Frost. And I think it had a... Oh, maybe not. I'm trying to remember. My favorite... I can't remember. Ogden Nash. Ogden Nash with my Tale of Custer the Dragon is my favorite poem. So, Rabbit to the Rescue, same group as before. A Hand, a Chick, and a String Guitar. Again, one of those gift books that just the kids absolutely love, and came with a CD that actually sang the song. It's one of those counting songs. 1 chick, 2 chick, 1 pig, 2 pig, that kind of thing. Artist Who Painted a Blue Horse, based off an actual artist. We love Eric Carle. Many Eric Carle books, but this one was really extra inspiring because it's about dreaming outside the box and the craziness of painting a blue horse and how people didn't like that, and yet how that changed the world of art. Redwall. Back to her collection of Redwall. This one is The Redwall Feast, a short story. Time for bed, little sheep, little sheep. The whole wide world is going to sleep. This one is a great one to read to kids in preschool who are going to sleep at night. Arthur's Nose, classic edition of the Arthur collection, and how he wants a new nose, but then decides he's good the way he is. And Carl Sandburg, Arithmetic. We've used this off and on. It's one of those things I keep... It's illustrated by Ted Rand, so that's why it keeps making the cut. But not super interesting to my kids. On the Night You Were Born, another book that we were given as a gift and that we've read to our kids when they were going to sleep. I love George and Martha, and I have a collection of these, and some of them are actually on my kids' shelves because they also love George and Martha. About 2 hippos that have adventures together. And yeah, I think they still have George and Martha at the library. But they're just always doing hijinks on each other and having adventures and learning how to be friends. And this was the first book of the series. And then Mad About Madeline. These are most of the Madeline, the complete tales. Another one I would put in my top 20. Madeline, the first book, would be one I'd put in my top 20 books to read to kids. Younger elementary school to preschool age, and great for 5 in a row. Learning just so many different topics that you can talk about. And that is what made the cut. Now, even going through this, I'm thinking there's a couple that may or may not make it to my grandkids, but for now, this is what's here and what we use for school. I do still use picture books. I have 7th grade and 9th grader, and I still throw in some picture books every now and then with them because they just cover a different aspect. Like the Aesop's Fables are still useful for 6th grade. I think we use that book. And so, and then again, these are the books sometimes people ask to read. What do you do? Do you get rid of the books when the kids outgrow them? Do you keep 1 or 2? Do you keep piles of them? I have kept, obviously, books since I was a kid for my own personal shelf. And so I guess it's not as weird for me that I'm having a hard time letting go of certain books. And then the books I want to let go of, my kids are like, no. And the books I want to let go of, my husband's like, no. So I think that's interesting how everybody has their own idea. But I just love having a library in my house where I can just go grab a pile if I've got a kid coming over interesting. So anyway, hope that was helpful. Hope you're having a great day. Again, just amateur, just having fun. Hope you're having fun. Hope this is helping your winter not be so cold. Something to throw on in the back room while you're cleaning, or if it inspires you to pick up 1 or 2 books, that's great. You do not need this huge collection in order to homeschool or to parent. Talk to you soon. Bye.